defensive end. Yeah, I think he is. I do. I think he is that good. But when I get to Debo, no, I don't. Right?
Well,
and that's how I do the math. And everyone does it a little differently.
Who's more productive last year
We're going to have the same question.
Who's more productive last year for the Niners? Bosa or Debo?
In a vacuum, probably, yeah. Brandon Aiyuk was more.
No, I brought up Debo. Debo.
That's a good question.
Because Bosa did not play like a $30 million defensive end last year.
Okay, so let's play this out.
Bosa played so poorly at first that they went out and traded guys because Bosa needed help, right? Needed help on the outside.
Yeah, but he gets double teamed and he opens things up for others.
He does.
And,
he does at times. He does at times.
Same way that we were talking about gravity with Debo Samuel.
But in real time, we were all disappointed with Nick Bosa.
No doubt. But Bonte, I think 32 GMs are taking Bosa over Debo.
They probably will. They probably will. You're probably right there. But he did not play worth his contract last year.
And neither did Debo.
But for that team last year, Debo may have had just as much impact as Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa made $30 million last year. We're thinking, damn, just 10 sacks? Damn, hey, Bosa, wake up. Hey, Bosa, where you at? Green Bay, where you at? Where Bosa, can you wake up, please? Now, he flipped the switch in the NFC Championship game, and he had a solid Super Bowl. But they had to go out and trade for Chase Young and Randy Gregory and all these guys next to Javon Hurts. They were underwhelming. The defensive line underwhelmed last year. I would agree with that. And it starts with Nick Bosa.
I would agree with that.
So we paid $30 million and we gave him a lot of money. I know some people in the Niners organization was like, boy, he took us behind the woodshed. We didn't want to give him that much money.
Well, so did Debo. But again,
Debo's been solid though.
Like, what's the difference in this Arden Key, who they had before, versus Bosa? Yeah, there is a big difference. There is a $25 million. I see a $25 million difference. I see double teams. I see the guy putting pressure on the quarterback, creating quarterbacks to hurry their throws. Like, there's a lot of things that Bosa does that's outside of just getting sacks.
Without Debo Samuel, you score 17. And now baked into that is Trent Williams.
Yeah.
Baked into that is Trent Williams. But we saw when he got back in Jacksonville and everybody in the 49ers said, boy, it was really good to have Debo Samuel back. It was really good to have him part of this offense back. And you got back to average. Like, let's not talk about this offense like they were chump change. They averaged 3 points a game.
They were amazing. They were amazing, but that's why I was saying last year.
Bosa disappointed last year. I don't care what anybody says. For that money, for what they paid him, he did not play worth the damn up to that. He did not live up to that contract last year. So if we're going to get on Debo for not living up to the contract, let's look at Nick Bosa, who took all that money on the defensive side of the football, and we had to make wholesale changes on this defensive line once again.
Bonte, both are true. Bosa might have disappointed. Debo might have disappointed. Hargrave might have disappointed. When George Kittle got signed, he got hurt, and he disappointed the year that he got his money. Fred Warner, the year he got his money, he disappointed. He even admitted and came out and said, like, I'm trying to do too much. Like, all of those can be true. It's not either or. So I just look at it like you're asking about team building and how I view Aiyuk. This is how I view Brandon Aiyuk. The other part of this that I'm viewing it as is like, part of me as a fan, I do want to see what my guy Brock Purdy looks like before I pay him without an elite wide receiver in Brandon Aiyuk. A little part of me, look, do I prefer?
We saw that already.
No. I want to see what it looks like for a full season. I want to see what it looks like for a full season.
No, I don't want to see that.
Well, I do.
I don't want to see Brock Purdy without the weapons.
If he delivers this year and he has a comparable year like he did the year prior, then I go, you know what? I got no qualms giving this guy $50 million a year.
Oh my gosh.
A part of you doesn't want to see that?
No, I want to see. I want to see Purdy surrounded with weapons.
I mean, I'd like to see him with Jerry Rice.
No, I don't want to see him without Brandon Aiyuk.
But there's a part of me that does want to see that. Because all of a sudden we see him without Brandon Aiyuk,
and I know what the conversation will be. He slips just a little bit. You know what the conversation is going to be about Brock Purdy. You know what it's going to be about.
The conversation is, wow, good. We now get to save $15 million, and I can afford another $15 million player.
Oh, gosh. He may not even be the guy. He may prove that he's not even the guy, and all of a sudden you're in the quarterback market again. Well, you want to go through that again?
Yeah, those things can happen.
Come on, man. You don't believe that. You don't believe that.
You're asking me. I'm the one that you yelled at this year because I said Ayuk's good, but he's not one of the premier
No, you
players.
said he wasn't the number one on his team. You said he wasn't one of the top 20 wide receivers. And then he goes off and he goes crazy for the because it was also baked in with CeeDee Lamb. It was also baked in with CeeDee Lamb. You're like, you don't view them as number ones, and it wasn't me that yelled at you.
I said 5
Everybody
guys.
else yelled at you.
Okay. I just don't think you can't have your cake and eat it too in the modern sports era. I've been saying it all year. They've got money staring them down the barrel. And if you don't start to understand finances, whether we're talking about the Warriors, whether we're talking about Major League Baseball or the NFL, then you're going to be shocked by a lot of these moves.
Financially, the Niners can't afford this season. They can't afford it this season. They can't afford it.
Ayuk's not playing without a new deal.
He's not playing without a new deal. But even if he gets a new deal, they can afford it this season. That's been proven. Nick Wagner, David Lombardi, they have all written about it. They're salary cap gurus. They've all written about it. They can't afford it. The Niners just don't want to. That's the difference here. They don't want to. They can afford it. And we all understand the finances, Shasky. It's because you talk about it the most. It doesn't mean we all don't understand it. We understand the finances. But when we talk about top 5 wide receivers, did Ayuk... Wow, number 7 in the league in receiving yards in the run first offense. Wow, number 2 in yards per catch. Wow, you look at his targets. He was 37th in the league in targets, yet came up with that production? So, damn, he played like a top 7 receiver.
He was
last
unbelievable.
Year.
He was unbelievable. No one denies that. The question is are you going to give him that kind of money on this team, knowing everything that you have? Look, I would be reluctant too. Plus, also knowing that I need to fill back my cupboard and I can get something back for this guy. Look, again, I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. In a vacuum, I'm taking Aiyuk over Debo. But I don't think they have that choice because of the money committed to Debo. So I feel like they're kind of up against it. And this is one of the few guys that can get you back something. And I think that's one of the few positions that is of depth in this draft as you're starting to project. I think you just got to connect the dots here.
Let's go to Greg in Daly City. Greg, what's happening?
Hey, guys. I wanted to give you my 2 cents worth on this Aiyuk situation. And, it's funny. I totally, you guys are kind of at odds on this, but I can see both sides of what you're saying, and I agree with both of you. Number one, I don't want to get rid of Aiyuk. I want to keep him. I want to keep him. I want to keep him. But, Shask, you're right. In the modern game, finances, many times outweigh the football decisions. Mm-hmm. And you've got to compromise your effectiveness and your execution on the field for financial reasons. It's like another old-time Niner buddy of mine always says, F the salary cap. It's like, no, you don't F the salary cap. The salary cap F's you, man. You've got to play the game. It's you have to. So if they feel that that somebody makes them an offer they can't refuse and they are going to go ahead and trade them, it can't be just trading Aiyuk for a high number 1. That's not enough because Aiyuk has shown that he's the sure thing. I mean, he's what you were just saying about the number 7 receiver in the league now, right?
Yep.
Dude, he's about to break that top 5, that top maybe 3. Who knows this year? He's ready to explode. And if we are going to be forced to trade him, I want a number 1, and I want another pick. So even if it's like a crazy dream scenario goes off where San Diego with their number 5 overall wants Aiyuk, that's still not enough because Aiyuk is the proven commodity. He's the sure thing. That number 5 may be another one of these busts. I mean, I just saw a great deep dive that PFF did on those top number 1 picks, how they pan out in the NFL. And on offense, less than 50% of them do. On defense, it's slightly better at 51% and change. So if we are going to trade Aiyuk, a number 1 pick's not enough because the new team is getting that sure thing, and we're getting a question mark no matter how high that pick is. So I want a number 1, I want a number 3, or I want a number 1, and I want a starter from their team. But and a bigger question is, really the Niners got to look at what is our identity going to be going forward? Now
great question.
Like you guys were saying, Shask, you were just saying, they're a run first team and defense, right? It's been what they've been. That's been their identity now in the Shanahan era. So now we finally have our franchise quarterback. God willing, please God, that Brock continues his development. But in the future, you can't have it both ways. You can't have a great offense and a great defense in this salary cap era.
Good call, Greg. It's a conversation for a later day. I keep hearing Brock Purdy's our franchise quarterback. Okay.
Well, they're operating like he is, and the reason why I say that is because look at what the Buffalo Bills have done once the Josh Allen money starts to hit. They have to move off of playmakers. Look at what the San Diego Chargers, LA Chargers, have done with Herbert now that his money's kicked in. They moved off both their wide receivers.
Well, they had to restructure. They had to keep Bosa around. And
look around the league. This is not exclusive to the Niners.
They had Justin Herbert for a long time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but the money's hitting right now.
The money is hitting right now.
And I look at Joe Burrow right now.
And the decision they make, when you think about the wide receivers they have, hold on for a second. Mike Williams is never healthy. Never healthy.
No, I know. He's making a lot of money.
They should have never gave him the money in the first place. That was a terrible mistake by Tom Telesco, who's not a GM of the Raiders. Like, given Mike Williams, I would have never gave him that money. And Keenan Allen was productive for a long, long time. But I get the transition now that you have the top 5 pick. You get Jim Harbaugh, you move off of him. That's fine. But every situation is different.
Well, then Cincinnati's going through the same thing. Like, they're going to pay Burrow. They're going to pay Jamar.
And Mike Brown is a notorious cheap owner. Don't forget about that.
I know, but they just gave Burrow the $200 and whatever million. They moved off Mixon because they can't afford Mixon anymore.
Well, it was time. They got some guys, and I get it.
I'm just saying, like,
you can't keep your team together year to year. We all know that.
Once you start to
Shasky, we all understand the salary cap. We all understand you're not going to be able to keep players every single year. We all understand that. Cincinnati situation. I understand the situation in Cincinnati, Shasky. We understand it. But here with the 49ers, this situation, as Michael Silver writes in the Chronicle, next year, Purdy becomes eligible. We all know that for a lucrative contract extension. And some difficult salary cap decisions have to be made. But if they pay big money to Aiyuk, they would likely have to part ways with Debo or George Kittle next season. And you know what? I think people are ready to move off of Debo next season at the number that he's making and moving on and keep moving forward with Brandon Aiyuk. When you think about the modern game, and if you are a run-first offense and I'm running play-action passes, who is a better sure thing in the pass game? Is it Deebo Samuel, or is it Brandon Aiyuk? And I hate pitting both of them together. But right now, it looks like Brandon Aiyuk is the guy who can separate better at the line of scrimmage than Deebo Samuel.
Everyone's going to take Aiyuk over Deebo. But Deebo, if you get off him, you're cutting him, like Eric Armstead, and you're not getting any money. It'll be a post-June 1 designation, right? Whereas Aiyuk, you can get something back. And it's not about, is Aiyuk better? It's, can I get something back for an asset that I've helped, build into an asset? And I don't think you're getting a lot.
You can sell high on Aiyuk.
Yeah, I think that's the math they're doing.
But I'm looking at a guy who's missed one game. He's
way more durable, way more effective in terms of the passing game. And I think when CMC came to the team, it kind of devalued Deebo Samuel's importance. And so the contract you gave him prior to CMC coming to the team now looks a little out of whack because his usage isn't the exact same. And then I look at it this way, like tight end to me, if we're looking at value around the league, $15 million for a tight end, which is like a Kelsey number, a Kittle number. Like, that's crazy good value. That's crazy. That's half of what one of these top 5 wide receivers is making. Half. That means I could spend for $15 million each, CMC and Kittle. That's one Brandon Aiyuk. So, like, it's a Jenga puzzle piece here. You're trying to puzzle this thing together. And so, like, it kind of stinks that Debo's forced to make the $28 million this year, but you signed him.
Let's go to Auntie Robin. Hey, Sugar. What's happening, Sugar?
Hi, you guys. Hey, Sugar. Listen, I'm from a financial aspect, Shasky. But, okay, so this is real petty of me, Vontae. But, Aiyuk can go because I truly did not appreciate his little crew, Pookie and them hollering from the peanut gallery about what Aiyuk can do. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here. Last year, I would really consider last season his breakout year. Wasn't he in the doghouse prior to that? How did he go from the doghouse to being elite? Yes, he's better at certain things than Debo, more durable than Debo. But if you give him that money, ask me, I'm going to tell you this. No matter who they got as a receiver, unless he fix that offensive line and do something about that secondary, they're never going to win. Correct me if I'm wrong there. Peace out, guys.
Yep. Certainly sounds like BA may be traded. And we're going to see how this offense looks without BA. It sounds like he's going to get traded. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But what is the compensation? What is the package you're getting? What are the players you're getting? Who are you getting back? Will they be able to help you win now? Because you're not the San Francisco Giants right now if you're the Niners. You were in win now mode.
For sure.
You just lost the Super Bowl in the last play of overtime for crying out loud.
I mean, that's why coming out of the stadium, you're talking about like the feeling. A part of me was like, this was the window. The Chiefs are only going to get better because of moving off of all the crazy money. And then like now you're seeing Mahomes is going to restructure. Like, You knew you were going to have to pay Birdie at some point. Whether people like it or not, it's coming. It's coming down the barrel. So, like, this last season where they lost in overtime felt like the last great run for, money spread all across the entire team but the quarterback.
And guess what's going to happen when you do reset the market with Brock Purdy? Then it gets even worse.
There's going to be another player
even worse.
or two or three
players that you're going to cut for Brock Purdy. Then how good is he going to be?
Well, this goes back to you better have a cupboard of draft picks, and you better start nailing these draft picks.